My own daughter tried to marry a man for his money the very day she stood at the altar in her dream wedding dress. And I had to be the one to stop, right there in front of God and everybody in Charleston, South Carolina. 2 months ago, I woke up in the middle of the night with my heart pounding so hard. I thought I was having a heart attack. Convinced something terrible was about to happen to my girl, Savannah. I couldn't shake it. That cold, heavy dread just sat on my chest like a brick. I told myself it was just empty nest anxiety. Or maybe the hot flashes finally driving me crazy. But deep down, I knew better. Mothers know. We feel it in our bones before our heads catch up. What would you do if your own daughter was about to walk down the aisle, wearing a wedding dress built on 5 years of lies, a secret husband, and a hidden child? Before I spill the rest of this mess, I just want to say thank you for sitting with me while I pour my heart out. Drop a comment and tell me where you're tuning in from right now. I love picturing y'all out there with me. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. If you truly like our content, that little click keeps these stories coming. And Lord knows we all need a few more voices reminding us we're not alone when life gets ugly. Have you ever had that gut feeling about someone your kid was dating that you just couldn't shake? Tell me in the comment. I read every single one. Okay, deep breath. Now let me tell you what really happened. It was the morning of Savannah's wedding. I'd been up since 5, staring at the pale lavender mother of the bride dress hanging on the closet, adoring my little house in Mount Pleasant, just outside Charleston. I'd bought it 6 months earlier at that boutique on King Street, the one with the sweet sales lady who kept saying, "This color makes your eyes pop." Honey, back then I'd smiled and pictured walking Savannah down the aisle at St. Michael's Church, the historic one with the white steeple everybody photographs. I'd imagined happy tears, hugs, maybe even dancing later at the reception in that gorgeous garden on the Battery. Instead, I stood there pressing my palm to my chest, trying to slow my racing heart. Something felt wrong. Not just wedding jitters, something darker. Savannah had been dating Ethan Caldwell for almost 2 years. Tall, charming, worked in finance, downtown, came from old Charleston money. He'd proposed on Folly Beach at sunset with his grandmother's ring. Everyone said they were perfect together. My friends kept telling me, "Avery, you've raised such a strong, beautiful girl. She found a good one." But every time, Ethan smiled that polished smile. My stomach twisted just a little. I was pinning my hair up when I heard the crunch of tires in the driveway too early. Our family driver, Marcus, wasn't supposed to pick me up for another 40 minutes. Marcus had driven for us since I was pregnant with Savannah 20 years. He'd driven me to every doctor's appointment. When I was fighting through postpartum depression after she was born, driven Savannah to ballet, driven me to the ER the night my mama passed. Marcus didn't show up early unless something was wrong. I grabbed my clutch and stepped outside. The April air smelled like magnolias and salt from the harbor. Marcus stood by the black SUV, hands clenched at his sides, jaw tight. This man never rattled, but right now he looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Miss Avery," he said, low and urgent, "you need to get in the back. Right now. Cover up with the blanket on the seat." I froze halfway down the porch steps. "Marcus, what in the world? Please." His voice cracked. "I made a promise to your late husband. I swore I'd look after you and Savannah. Trust me, please." The mention of James hit like ice water. James never asked anyone to make promises lightly. I glanced back at the house. Savannah was inside getting her makeup done with her bridesmaids, laughing, probably sipping mimosas. My beautiful girl, about to marry the man she swore made her feel safe. "Marcus," I whispered, "what did you find?" "Not here, but you need to see something before Savannah walks down that aisle. And she can't know you're watching." My hands shook. "See what?" He opened the back door. The leather smelled familiar, comforting. A dark blanket lay folded on the seat. "Get in," he said. "I'll explain on the way. We're running out of time." I stared at that open door, at Marcus's pleading eyes. This man who'd held my hand at James's funeral, who'd driven Savannah to college move-in day and cried when she hugged him goodbye. Against every screaming instinct, I climbed in. My dress caught on the doorframe. I hiked it up, crawled myself small, pulled the blanket over my head. The world went dark and muffled. The front door opened. Savannah's voice, bright and excited. "Morning, Marcus. Ready to make me a married woman?" "Yes, ma'am," he answered, calm as ever. "Big day." She slid into the passenger seat. Her perfume-white gardenia filled the car, the same one I'd worn on my wedding day to James. She laughed. "I can't believe this is happening. Ethan's probably pacing the church already." Marcus started the engine. The car rolled smoothly down the driveway. Savannah sighed happily. "Mom's coming separately, right?" She said she needed a minute to herself. "That's right," Marcus said. "She'll meet us there." "Good," Savannah said, almost too softly. "That's good." My blood turned cold under the blanket. Why was that good? The car moved through Mount Pleasant streets. I knew by heart past the old, oak-lined roads, over the bridge toward downtown Charleston. I could hear everything. Savannah humming softly, her phone buzzing with texts, her nails tapping the screen. Then her phone rang. She answered on speaker. "Hey, babe." Ethan's voice came through, warm and smooth. "You on your way?" "Almost there," she said. "How's my handsome groom?" "Nervous." "Good. Nervous. Can't wait to see you in that dress." There was a pause. "Just a beat too long." "After today," Ethan said, "everything changes." Savannah's voice softened. "Finally. Our life. Finally." That word finally landed like a slap. Why did it sound so hungry? They chattered about flowers, the cake, whether the string quartet had arrived. Normal wedding talk. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was rehearsed. Too perfect. Then Ethan's phone buzzed again. Different tone. He muttered, "Unknown number." "Hang on, babe." He answered. "I told you not to call this number." His voice dropped, tight with something that sounded like fear. I said I'd handle it. "Stop calling." He hung up fast. Savannah's tone sharpened. "Everything okay?" "Yeah," he said, forcing a laugh. "Just wedding stress, you know." But I heard the tremor. My future son-in-law was scared and lying. The car slowed, turned. I felt the shift. We weren't heading straight to St. Michael's. Marcus was taking a detour. Savannah noticed. "Where are we going?" "Quick stop," Marcus said smoothly. "Won't take long." Her phone chimed. A text. She read it aloud, voice changing. "Ethan says emergency at his buddy's place. Needs me to swing by before the church. Send an address." Marcus didn't hesitate. "Of course, ma'am." We turned onto narrower streets. The smooth highway gave way to bumpy pavement, cracked sidewalks. This wasn't the polished historic district. This was the kind of neighborhood where rent was cheap and dreams were on layaway. The car stopped. "I'll be right back," Savannah said. He said, "Wait inside." Door opened, closed, footsteps faded. Marcus's voice came low and urgent. "Miss Avery, come out now." I threw the blanket off. Sunlight blinded me for a second. Marcus stood at the open door, offering his hand. I took it, legs stiff, dress hopelessly wrinkled. "Marcus," I hissed. "Where are we? What's happening?" He pointed to a small brick house across the street. Faded blue shutters. Toys scattered on the patchy lawn. A tricycle tipped over by the steps. Mailbox read, "The Monroe family." Savannah's last name was supposed to be Hayes, my maiden name. She'd kept because she said it felt like home. Ethan was Caldwell. "Watch the side door," Marcus whispered. "Not the front. The side." "Why?" "Because that's where she goes when no one's supposed to see." My heart slammed against my ribs. "What am I about to see, Marcus?" He didn't answer, just watched. We crouched behind the SUV. Minutes dragged like hours. Then the side door opened. Savannah stepped out. No wedding glow. Jeans, ponytail, plain t-shirt. A little boy made before I ran out and hugged her legs. "Mommy, are you leaving already?" My world tilted. "Mommy." A man appeared in the doorway. Mid-30s, tired eyes, worn hoodie. He looked at Savannah with a mix of love and exhaustion. "Lucas is asking about the money again," he said quietly. "If we don't pay by tonight." "Not now," Savannah snapped. "Ethan's waiting inside. Keep your voice down." The man, her husband, rubbed his face. "You're really doing this." Marrying him today? His family's money will fix everything, she said coldly. 1 year. Clean divorce. We pay Lucas off. We disappear. Me, you, Wyatt. Safe. Wyatt, the little boy still clinging to her leg. She knelt, kissed the top of his head. Mommy has to go be a princess for a little while, okay? Then we can have pancakes tomorrow. All the chocolate chips you want. The boy beamed. Promise? Promise, baby. She stood. The man pulled her close, kissed her, not polite, not staged, real, deep. Years of history in that kiss. You sure about this, Becca? He whispered. Becca, not Savannah. She touched his cheek. For Wyatt. For us. Trust me. Then she transformed. Shoulders back, smile on, mask perfect. She slipped back inside through the side door. 30 seconds later, the front door opened. Savannah emerged arm in arm with Ethan. Radiant, glowing, the bride everyone expected. Sorry for the wait, she said sweetly. My friend's dog got out, but we caught him. Ethan laughed, kissed her temple. Let's take your car to the church. Just you and me before everything changes. They climbed into her silver sedan and drove off. I stood there shaking, knees weak. My daughter wasn't Savannah Hayes. She was Becca Monroe, married, a mother, planning to use Ethan's family fortune to pay off some dangerous debt and vanish. Marcus appeared beside me. Her car. She always insisted on driving separately. Ethan never questioned it. I stared at the house. We have to stop this. Marcus checked his watch. Church in 25 minutes. If you're going to talk to the husband, do it now. I walked up the cracked sidewalk, heart in my throat, and knocked. The door opened. The tired man, Becca's husband, stared at me. Confusion turning to dread when he saw my dress, my face. You're Avery Hayes, he said quietly. I nodded. And you're married to my daughter, legally. Tell me everything. Right now. He stared at me for a long second. Color draining from his face like someone had pulled a plug. Then he stepped aside without a word. I walked into a small living room that smelled like coffee and crayons. Toys everywhere. A little boy, Ryat, sat cross-legged on the rug building, a tower with colorful blocks, humming some cartoon song. He looked up at me with those big curious eyes and smiled. Hi, lady. Are you here for Mommy's wedding? My throat closed. I forced a small nod. Something like that, sweetheart. The man, his name was Daniel Monroe, closed the door softly behind me. Becca told me if anyone from Ethan's family ever showed up, I was supposed to say she wasn't here. But you're not just anyone, he rubbed the back of his neck. You're her mom. I pulled out my phone. Showed him the engagement photo Savannah Becca had posted 6 months ago. She and Ethan smiling on the pier at Shem Creek. Daniel's shoulders sagged. She's really going through with it, he whispered. Tell me everything, I said. No sugarcoating. My daughter is about to marry a man under false pretenses. And there's a child involved. Start talking. He glanced at Wyatt, who was now stacking blocks higher, oblivious. Then Daniel led me to the kitchen table. He pulled out a shoebox from under the sink, old receipts, photos, folded papers. He spread them out like evidence in a trial. First, the marriage certificate. Daniel Monroe and Rebecca Hayes Monroe. Married 5 years ago in a small courthouse in North Charleston. Her real name, my last name. She'd never changed it legally after we divorced when she was little. Wait, James and I never divorced. She was using my maiden name as her married name? My head spun. Daniel kept going. Birth certificate for Wyatt Monroe, 4 years old. Hospital bills from his premature delivery and ICU stays that added up fast. Then loan documents. A name jumped out. Lucas Vaughn, not a bank. A private lender. Interest rates had made my stomach turn. Threats handwritten on the back of one notice. Pay by end of month or we come for the boy. Collateral walks on 2 legs. Daniel's voice cracked. Wyatt had breathing problems after he was born. Insurance didn't cover everything. We fell behind. Lucas. He's not the kind of man you reason with. Becca said if she could marry into money. Ethan's family owns half the historic properties downtown. Plus the investment firm she could get access to joint accounts after the wedding. transfer enough to pay Lucas off, stage a quick divorce in a year, and we'd disappear. New names, new state, Wyatt would be safe. I stared at the photos he slid across next. Family pictures. Becca holding newborn Wyatt. Christmas mornings. Beach days at Folly. Daniel kissing her cheek while she laughed. Real love, real life. And all of it hidden from me for years. Why didn't she come to me? My voice sounded small. Daniel looked down. She said you'd never understand, that you judged her for the debt, for choosing me over whatever life she thought she was supposed to have. She changed her name socially when she met Ethan, became Savannah Hayes again, said it was easier to sell the single girl story. I felt sick. My own daughter had erased her husband and child to chase money, to protect her son, yes, but by destroying someone else's son. I gathered the papers. I need these. All of them. Danielson's eyes widened. If Lucas finds out, I talked. I'll handle Lucas, I said, and I'll make sure Wyatt's safe. But Ethan deserves the truth before, he says. I do. Bring Wyatt in these documents too. St. Michael's. Park in the back lot. Stay out of sight until I text you. Don't let Becca see you. He looked terrified. You're going to expose her? In front of everyone? I'm going to save my future son-in-law from a lifetime of lies. And I'm going to make sure no one takes your boy. I touched his arm. You did the right thing telling me. No, let me do mine. Marcus was waiting outside. We drove fast toward the church. My phone buzzed. Texts from bridesmaids wondering where I was. I ignored them. When we pulled up, guests were already arriving. Palmetto trees swaying, historic brick glowing in the sun. I slipped in a side door, smoothed my dress as best I could, and found Ethan in the groom's room. He looked up, tie crooked, grinning. Gavery, there you are. Savannah said you needed a minute. Everything okay? I forced a smile. Just a mother's nerves. You look handsome, Ethan. He hugged me. I can't believe she's about to be my wife. After Mom died last year, I thought I'd never feel this happy again. Savannah, she gets me. My heart cracked open. She does seem to know exactly what you need. I left him there, glowing, and found a quiet corner near the bridal suite. The door was cracked. Becca's voice floated out sharp on the phone. Lucas, I'm telling you, it's happening today. After this ceremony, I'll have access. You'll get your money by next week. Just don't touch Wyatt. I'm doing this for him. I stepped back, bile rising. She was still negotiating with the monster even now. The organ started. Guests hushed. I took my seat in the front pew, hands folded, face calm. Inside, I was screaming. The processional began, bridesmaids in soft blush. Then the doors opened. Becca Savin appeared, stunning, white lace, veil trailing, bouquet of gardenias. She floated down the aisle like every bride's dream. Ethan's eyes filled with tears. He whispered, "You're perfect." She reached the altar. They joined hands. The Reverend began, "Dearly beloved." I waited. Every word felt like a countdown. Then the moment came. If anyone knows of any reason why these two should not be joined in holy matrimony, speak now or forever hold your peace. Silence. 3 seconds. 4. I stood. I object. Gasps rolled through the church like thunder. Becca's head snapped toward me. Mom? Ethan turned, confused. Avery? I walked forward, heels clicking on stone. This wedding cannot happen. The woman standing here is already married, legally, to Daniel Monroe for 5 years. They have a 4-year-old son named Wyatt. The church exploded. Whispers, shouts, phones coming out. Becca's face went gray. That's not true. She's lying, Mom. Stop this. I held up the folder Daniel had given me. I have the marriage certificate, birth certificate, photos, text messages where you planned to marry. Ethan, for his money, pay off a loan shark named Lucas Vaughn and disappear with your real family. Ethan staggered. What? Becca's voice rose, frantic. She's making this up. She never wanted me to be happy. I turned the back. Marcus opened the side door. Daniel walked in holding Wyatt's hand. The little boy looked around, wide-eyed at the flowers, the dresses. Daddy, it's pretty here, he said. Then he saw Becca. Mommy, you look like a princess. The church lost it. Screams, crying. Someone yelled, "Mommy!" Daniel stopped at the front. Voice steady. "I'm Daniel Monroe. Becker's my wife. This is our son. She told me today was the day. She'd get the money to keep him safe from the man we owe. I didn't want any part of this, but I couldn't let an innocent man get destroyed." Ethan looked at Becca. "Tell me he's lying, please." She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Ethan's voice broke. "Did you ever love me? Or was I just money?" Silence. That was her answer. I stepped closer. "You used my daughter's name, my name, to build a lie. You targeted Ethan because he was grieving. You researched his family's wealth. That's not desperation. That's calculated fraud." Becca sank to her knees, veil pooling around her. Sobs shook her. Not remorse, panic. Wyatt started crying. Daniel picked him up, shielding his face. I looked at Ethan. "I'm so sorry, sweetheart. But you deserve the truth." He nodded once, tears streaming. Then he turned and walked out the side door. Tyler, his best man, followed. Guests began leaving in waves. Whispers everywhere. Bigamy. Fraud. Poor Ethan. I stayed. Becca looked up at me, mascara ruined. I was protecting my son. "You destroyed someone else's son to do it," I said quietly. "There's always another way. You just didn't want to find it." Police arrived minutes later. Marcus had called them discreetly. They read Becca her rights. Handcuffs clicked over lace sleeves. She looked back at Daniel and Wyatt one last time. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Daniel didn't answer. He just held his son tighter. As they led her away, I walked outside. Ethan sat on a bench under an oak tree, head in his hands. I sat beside him, said nothing at first. Finally he spoke. "How long did you know?" "Since this morning. Marcus found out weeks ago. He saw her coming and going from that house. Confirmed it today." "Why wait till now? 'Cause if I'd told you yesterday, you'd have defended her. You loved her. Love makes us blind." He laughed, bitter. "I feel like an idiot." "You're not. You trusted. That's human." We sat in silence as the sun dipped lower. 3 months later, things looked different. Ethan sold his share in the family firm Too Many Memories. He's traveling now, finding himself. We talk every week. He's in therapy, learning to trust again, slowly. Daniel and Wyatt moved to a quiet place in Greenville. I helped with the first few months' rent and legal fees for their protection order against Lucas, who's now in jail on extortion charges. Wyatt calls me Miss Avery and sends me drawings of princesses. Daniel says thank you every time we talk. Becca's serving 3 years. Fraud, bigamy, identity theft. She writes me letters sometimes. Apologies mixed with excuses. I don't write back. Not yet. Maybe someday. Me? I joined a women's support group here in Mount Pleasant. We meet Tuesdays over coffee and talk about boundaries, red flags, protecting our hearts and our kids. I tell them what James used to say. Love doesn't mean swallowing lies to keep the peace. Real love sometimes means speaking the hard truth, even if it breaks everything for a minute. Because one painful moment of truth is better than years of living a lie. I still miss my girl, the one I thought I raised. But I protected the people who needed it most. And in the end, that's what mothers do. We don't always get the fairy tale, but we get the strength to face the real story. And we come out the other side scarred, maybe, but standing tall. If this hit home for you, drop a comment. Have you ever had to choose between peace and protection? Ever ignored a gut feeling and regretted it? Or trusted it and saved someone you love? I read every word. And if you're still here, thank you. Hit subscribe if these stories help you feel less alone. Share it with a friend who needs a reminder that truth always finds its way out. Because sometimes the hardest love is the one that says no. When everything else is screaming, yes. Take care of yourselves, y'all. And trust that instinct. It's there for a reason. God bless.